Okay, so for factoring the sum and difference of cubes, there's a pattern, and I strongly suggest that you put this pattern in your notes so that you don't have to memorize it. But I will give you an acronym that'll help you out in case you don't have it in your notes. And that is, this is the pattern. Okay, so we take and say we have, since this first one is a difference of cubes, we're going to do that as our first pattern. So we're going to have a cubed minus b cubed. And the way we would factor that is we would take the cube root of our first term, which would be a, and we're going to subtract it by the cube root of the second term, which would be b. Okay, we're going to put it in parentheses. And now we're going to take and we're going to have the square of the first term, so a squared. And then we're going to use the opposite symbol that's in our original equation. So the opposite symbol will be plus. And then the next term is a combination of the cube root of a and the cube root of b times each other. So a times b. And then we would put a plus sign here, and we would take the square of the cube root of b. So it would be b squared. Okay, here's the acronym. Okay, so our first term, we're looking at just our operation symbols. So our first operation symbol is the same as our original. Our next operation symbol is the opposite of the original. And then the last one is always positive no matter what. And so notice our acronym is SOAP. And so, well, let's use that again with for our pattern of our sum. So if we have a cubed plus b cubed, that's going to equal the cube root of a. We're going to use the same symbol, SOAP, same symbol. So we're going to have plus the cube root of b cubed. And then we're going to take the square of the first cube root, so a squared. And then it's going to be the opposite. So this is going to be a negative sign. And then we're going to take the a times b, and then it's always positive, and then it's b squared. And so that's the pattern we're going to use. So now let's go to our actual given problems. So we have 8 cubed times a cubed, and we're thinking, is that a cube? It actually is. If you take 2 and cube it, you get 8. So we have 2 cubed times a cubed minus, and then if you take 5 and cube it, you get 125. And then we're going to go over here to this problem, and 4 cubed is the same thing as 64. And then we times that by b cubed plus, and then 3 cubed is the same thing as 27. Okay, so then I'm going to go back and I'm going to work my difference problem all the way through using my pattern. Okay, now my pattern is the cube root of the first term. So the cube root of 2 cubed a cubed is 2a. And then we're going to use the same symbol, so it's going to be a minus sign, and then we take the cube root of the last term. And that's our first little grouping. And then from there, we're going to take 2a and we're going to square it. So that's going to become 4a squared. And then we're going to take 2a and times it by 5. So that's going to give us 10a. Notice I didn't put my symbol there because I wanted to make a point. It's going to be the opposite of that one. So it's going to be a plus. And then this is a plus. And then this is 5 squared. Okay, so now I'm going to rewrite that as 25. So 5 squared is 25. And we have our final answer for this. Now, if you want to check it, you check it by multiplying it through. Okay, so 2a times 4a squared is going to give us 8a cubed. 2a times 10a is going to give, and notice it's a plus, so we're going to have a plus. So we have 2a times 10a, so it's going to be 20a squared. Okay, 2a times 25 is going to be plus 50a. Okay, now I'm going to multiply the -5. Notice I'm just distributing to each term. So -5 times 4a squared is going to give me a -20a squared. I'm doing something called stacking. This is a way of formulating your problems. To me, it helps me make sense of what I'm doing, and I have my things lined up that I want to work with. So a -5 times 10a is going to give me a -50a. -5 times 25 is going to give me a -125. Now I have my items stacked, and I just go straight up and down. So 8a cubed stays 8a cubed because there was nothing to bring it down. It comes straight down. And I have 20a cubed and a -20a cubed, so they cancel out. We have a positive 50a and a -50a, so they cancel out. And so all I'm left with is my -125. I have my original term here, so that one has worked out. Now we're going to use the pattern for our sum. So we're going to take the cube root of my first term, which is 4b, and the cube root of my last term is going to be 3. I keep the same symbol. That's my first grouping. My second grouping is to take and square this, and so square my first term, and that's going to be 16b squared. Okay, and then I'm going to multiply this one and this one together, so that's going to give me I messed up my symbol. It's supposed to be the opposite. So let's do the opposite. Times 4b times 3 is going to give me -12b. And then always positive here. And that's going to be that squared, which becomes 9. And again, if you want to test it, you just go ahead and work it through by checking it. So 4b times 16b squared gives me 64b cubed. 4b times -12b gives me a negative. 12 and 4 is 48b squared. And then 4b times 9 is going to give me, that's going to be positive 36b. And now we have plus 3. So 3 times 16b squared gives me a positive 48b squared. 3 times -12b gives me a -36b. And a 3 times 9 gives me a positive 27. And now I have them stacked, and we have 64b cubed. We bring it straight down, and then we notice that our 48b squared gets canceled out because we have a positive and a negative. Same thing for my 36b. We have a positive and negative. They cancel out, and I'm left with my plus 27, which is the same thing as my original sum. So therefore, I have done my problem correctly. So therefore, you can check your answer so you don't have to be left in wondering if you did it correctly. And so hopefully this helps you factor the sum and difference of cubes.